So you want to feel that passionate fire deep within, but you're not so sure how to ignite it. One thing you can do to significantly improve your sex life is to understand that sex does not equal love. People want deep and genuine intimacy, and great sex is the byproduct of that, not the other way around. Sex is a critical component of relationships, but it shouldn't be the entire foundation. And just because there's sex involved, it doesn't mean that love is there. If you want to improve the chances of having great and consistent sex, take care of the relationship instead of solely focusing on the sex itself. Be kind to one another and pour into each other's hobbies and passions. Do special things together and always keep the romance alive. This applies to both men and women. Look out for the other person. Have their back and be there for them when they're feeling low. Make them their favorite food on a hard day. Take out the trash and clean up the house when they've been super busy taking care of other things. Just be the most amazing partner you can be. Sometimes it's not about the lack of sex. It's about the lack of relationship decency. If you focus on this and continue to strengthen the relationship foundation in healthy ways, other great things will follow. If not, you can grow resentful for your partner over time, and this will cause fights. Bitterness and frustration will consume you. You won't want to have sex. You'll just want to get away from the other person. In psychology, there's this phenomenon called the misattribution of arousal. This occurs sometimes when we are in a heightened emotional state, like after an argument, and our brains improperly attribute that heightened arousal to something else, like your attraction for your partner. Instead of being mad, you just feel super turned on for a period of time. This is why makeup sex can feel so good sometimes. That being said, I wouldn't ever recommend you base the foundation of your intimacy on fights just to have this type of experience. On that note, some relationships can just be outright toxic, yet people still stay. We hold on to the sex as a tying bond and think that because we're physically intimate, we're healthy and we have love. One potential reason that people can stay attracted to an abusive person is because the abuser gives rewards, like sex, on a variable ratio schedule, just like a slot machine. You lose most of the time in slots, and you're expected to lose, but it's the off chance wins that bring us the greatest dopamine rush and drive us to addictive tendencies. It's those unpredictable and unique wins that we obsess over and remember, which keep us playing and develop a false sense of win to loss ratios in our brains. In the context of toxic relationships and ones where sex is the only foundation, we see that those intimate moments are like slot wins, and this fuels the false belief that they can change, which is how we rationalize to ourselves that it's worth staying in. This can all potentially form from the relationship that we have with our parents. The brain circuitry that you use to develop attachments to your caregivers do not disappear when you hit puberty. They're repurposed for sexual and romantic relationships. This is why attachment styles stem from childhood and carry over into romantic relationships over time. So if the relationship you had with your caregivers was toxic, it may have had some impact on how you sexually developed as an adult. Another thing you can do to maximize pleasure with your partner is to understand what sexually attracts you to them in the first place and where that might have faded out over time. When you first start getting intimate with someone, it seems to be on the mind constantly. Everywhere you go, everything you do, you always look for excuses to do it. Why is this? As the School of Life puts it, sexiness equals possession plus freedom. Aside from the fact that it's hardwired into our minds, it's also exhilarating to be intimate with someone who isn't in our reach, someone we don't fully possess yet, while we still have our own sense of freedom. There may not be an official label yet, you don't have much history, and things are so novel and fresh. It's massively stimulating to the brain. It's performing one of the most intimate acts imaginable with someone else. They could choose to walk away at any time, yet they choose to stay. The thrilling desire to be so physically close with someone else, with a worry that it might not last forever, is what makes those feelings of temporary possession so sexy. But why does this fade for some couples as time goes on? Early on, we have a strong sense of freedom with our own thoughts, opinions, fears, preferences, etc. We're free to do what we want with very little relational consequences. As some couples become closer, spend more time together, and get more comfortable, they may get lazy or tired. To keep the fire alive regarding the equation that sexiness equals possession plus freedom, continually work on yourself and never stop pursuing the things that you love and are interested in. Feverishly work toward the goals, hobbies, and aspirations you have. Be the daring and bold person you were when the two of you first met. Spend time away from each other and have independent experiences in healthy ways. By doing this, you'll then regain your personal freedoms, and you're no longer the other person's possession. You'll be new yet familiar with your partner. You'll show them that there's always growth in you and that there's always something new to learn about you. This will create an attractive mystery about you. This will revive or keep the passion going indefinitely. Let me know in the comments below if any of these tips have resonated with you so far. For those of you that are new here, my name's Jeff and my goal is to make psychology make sense. If you're enjoying the content so far, any support for the channel would be greatly appreciated. Thanks for hanging out today. Another thing you can do to maximize pleasure and improve your sex life is to focus on continuously improving your communication skills. I don't care how good you think you are at communicating, keep working on it. We're human. We mess up, we make mistakes, and we get stuck in our own ways. We can sometimes think that others just know what we want. There's so many relationships out there where someone may not be fully sexually satisfied, but they never communicate it to others. A huge part of having a fulfilling relationship and psychological safety is effective communication. You might be scared or not really know how to approach it, but it's critical that you work with your partner all the way through it. Vulnerability is often seen as a weakness, but it's one of the greatest strengths in building relationships and growing stronger together. Courage doesn't always roar, and sometimes what we want or need to get out is absolutely terrifying or really tough to think about. It takes all of it out of us, but these hard moments and honest conversations can help propel things forward and keep you honest with each other. You want your partner to do something in bed? Tell them. You want to try something new, but you're scared your partner might not like it? Talk about it. You don't like the way someone's doing something, or you'd wish they would change something about the way they do it? Bring it up and work through it together. Otherwise, they'll never know. And by not bringing it up, you're not only hurting yourself, but you're harming the relationship and the other person as well. Imagine how many things could get resolved if you just maturely and openly talked through things as adults. I get that this can be awkward and uncomfortable for some people, but it needs to happen. If you're having sex, you should be mature enough to talk about it. Something else you can do to maximize your pleasure and improve your sex life is to focus on gratitude. It's difficult to imagine wanting to be intimate when you aren't genuinely appreciated. This can happen over time when people get too comfortable and stop putting in effort to share love, express grateful thoughts, and romance one another. This goes for both men and women. You both need to be happy in the relationship, and you both need to keep working on yourselves. Pour into each other's love languages and think of ways to make your partner's day better. Even the little things can make a massive difference in time. Cook for one another. Clean when you aren't even asked to do so. Drop compliments and be flirty with each other. Take care of things you know your partner isn't looking forward to, like organizing the garage. Put gas in your partner's car without telling them, or treat them to something that they love randomly. Mastering common relationship decency and respect over time will foster greater levels of gratitude. And as a byproduct of all of this, you will absolutely improve your sex life. Journaling and meditation are additional ways to effectively improve your gratitude levels together. Social media can also play a damaging role here, as it loves to sexualize everything. Every app we open, every time we scroll, we just cast our eyes on an endless sea of lust and toxic desire. We severely overstimulate our brains with images that force us to compare ourselves to others and become less grateful for what we actually have in reality. Spend less time on social media, stop comparing, and know that the grass is not always greener. Don't leave something good for something you think is better, because once you realize you had the best has already found better. Please be patient with yourself and your partner. These things take time, effort, and practice. Work through the struggles and develop the skills using the tips I gave you, and I promise it will be worth it later. Remember that sex does not equal love. There are reasons that people stay in toxic relationships, and you can always get out and grow as a person in healthy ways. Understand that sexiness is about possession and freedom. So never stop working on yourself and living a passionate life that is yours, that you can share with your partner as you go. Always put in work and keep growing together. Communicate endlessly and never stop being transparent and open. Do everything in your power to develop the highest sense of gratitude you can. It's the little things that take up the most space in our hearts. Continuously take care of yourself, the other person, and the relationship, and you will easily maximize your pleasure and improve your sex life. My last video is on improving your communication skills. And if you want to improve your communication skills with your partner, which will absolutely help you in the bedroom, highly recommend you check that one out. So for all things psychology to help you think, feel, and perform better, stay tuned right here on Psychology of Living.